All right, settle down, folks. Grab your favorite late night beverage, because we're about to dive into some truth bombs that most people are too busy scrolling to hear. Many of you slide into my DMs asking, dude, what is your secret to making bank? And I tell them, it is not what you think. I tell them the absolute stone cold truth, and guess what? Nobody ever believes me. Seriously, it is like I'm speaking Elvish. Here is the real talk. Every single unnecessary purchase you make, every time you chase some shiny new thing, that is you, personally, firing an employee who is dedicated to making you money. Think about that for a second. It is harsh. I know, but sometimes the truth feels like a punch to the gut, doesn't it? Now, let's rewind the clock. Way back to the early 1900s, 1902, to be exact, a little genius was born in Chicago. A kid who, get this, could read by the age of 5 years old, folks. I was still trying to figure out which end of the crayon went in my mouth at 5. This brilliant mind, Carl Rogers. He wasn't just some dusty old academic. He was a revolutionary. He changed the game for how we connect with each other. And trust me, you need this in your day-to-day life. I'm going to give you the lowdown, show you how I personally used his mind, bending ideas, and spill the tea on the insane ripple effect it had on my people skills. And, let's be honest, my bottom line, oh Lord, it's always good to be here with you. So this dude, Carl Rogers, his education started super early. I'm not kidding, he was practically born with a book in his hand. His interest bounced around a bit, as most truly curious minds do, but eventually he found his true calling, psychology. He became this incredible psychologist, and in his early days he focused on helping children. He developed this totally radical, non-judgmental, and deeply empathetic way of doing therapy. And honestly, if you've ever hung out with kids, you know all they really want is to be heard, like truly heard, not just nodded at while you scroll Instagram. Now Carl, in his psychological adventures, stumbled upon something that seems like common sense now, but back then, it was like discovering fire. He realized it had way more power than anyone ever imagined. He cooked up this thing called person-centered therapy, and a huge part of it was active listening. You've probably heard the term. But let me tell you, what most people think active listening is usually dead wrong. Carl figured out that simply by listening to his patients in a specific, intentional way, it created these unbelievable transformative effects. So before I spill my personal secrets on how I pulled this off, let me tell you what happened when I first gave it a whirl one day. I was just chilling thinking, man, everyone, and I mean everyone, just wants to talk about themselves all the time. And then it hit me. What do most people actually feel like when they listen to someone? Or even more importantly, how many people actually get truly listened to nowadays? It is like crickets, right? Most of what they say, it just floats into the ether, totally unheard. Here is a fundamental truth, the most basic human need. Even more basic than that fancy coffee you're holding, is the need to understand and to be understood. And the absolute best way to understand people, I mean truly understand them, is to listen. When I started weaving active listening into my social fabric, into every conversation, it was like magic. Others felt genuinely understood, their feelings were validated, and let me tell you, there is no feeling on earth quite like being truly heard. It made the people around me happier, more confident, and here is the kicker. When I genuinely listened to someone, it helped them arrive at conclusions they never would have reached on their own. It literally boosted their mental well-being. But wait, there is more. The conversations themselves, they became electric. When I properly listened to someone in a way that made them feel honest and authentic, they'd spill the most random, the most real, the most incredible stories I'd ever heard. It led to some seriously fun, deeply interesting, and unexpectedly rich conversations. Okay, cool story, bro. But how do we know this active listening thing actually works? To get to the bottom of that, we got a peek into Rogers' methods. When he practiced these techniques, his clients didn't just feel better. They gained personal insight, they actively participated in their own healing. They felt certain parts of themselves were more accepted, flaws and all, and they trusted him more. They were happier, pure and simple, and that, my friends, is exactly what I want for you. So stick around. His methods weren't just good, they were revolutionary, and now active listening is practically everywhere. Not just in some therapist's office. You see it in schools, in businesses, in communities, and yeah, obviously in therapy. And the best part, unlike trying to wrap your head around chaos theory or quantum physics, this stuff is actually pretty easy to grasp and start using today. So, how did I actually do this, you ask? Well, active listening is a beast entirely different from your run-of-the-mill ordinary listening. It is not just about shutting your mouth when someone else is talking, that is just polite. The first, most crucial step to becoming a listening Jedi Master was simply being there, being fully present. But beyond that, I had to learn specific tools and skills. And this is a super important distinction. These are tools, not just some flimsy tips or a rigid step-by-step guide. They're skills, like learning to ride a bike or balance your budget. Skills you can pick up and deploy whenever you need to genuinely understand someone better. It is also vital to remember this. Whenever someone says something, there are two layers: the actual content of their words, and then there is the rich, juicy emotion bubbling beneath it. A huge part of active listening involves responding to and truly understanding either of these layers, or even better, both, first. I had to make sure I wasn't losing my marbles. Let me elaborate. I started paraphrasing and summarizing what the other person just said, but in a super short, natural, and conversational way. And, it's really hard to believe they would love you if they knew you. That's right, that's exactly it. I'd simply repeat back what I thought I heard, keeping it natural and casual in a way that the person speaking would agree with. This made it virtually impossible for misunderstandings to creep in. It is like loosely checking in, making sure you're both jamming on the same wavelength. Even Carl Rogers found he was wrong sometimes. Happens to the best of us. But I realized I was missing something just as critical. I needed to actively encourage them to keep going, to keep sharing. I mean, why would anyone keep talking to me if they thought I wasn't even listening, right? Doing this was shockingly simple. It was as easy as not just staring at them with a blank, emotionless face while they talked. I mean, it is called active listening for a reason. All I had to do was use what they call minimal encourages, which is basically non-verbally communicating little nods, hus, hums, to show I was engaged. This was a powerful way to get the other person to feel comfortable and continue speaking. Here is a cheeky example, and I'm not positive they'll truly accept me. Something tells me they will. I know they will, but I'm not positive. Now, personally, I don't go full undramatic like that in real life. But you get the idea. It also helps immensely when I take my sweet time to respond, instead of just blurting out the first thing that pops into my head. But here is the thing. Words don't always capture the full spectrum of our feelings, do they? So what about that? How can I show genuine empathy while I'm listening? How can I truly work on understanding the emotions swirling within others? That is when I stumbled upon this gem called emotion labeling. After chatting with someone for a bit, you practice gently labeling their emotions in an empathetic way. You might get it wrong, and that is totally okay, but it still has a similar positive effect. And as I practiced this, I gradually got better. I get this incredible boost of confidence when I read in a book from someone I respect and admire that this is the right path, no matter what. Honesty will always win. And that keeps giving me confidence. By gosh, I'm right. But it's so damn hard to really choose something on your own, isn't it? Which makes me feel very immature. I don't like this in me. I wish I were all I said was stuff like, it sounds like you're having a rough time, and I guess you're glad that's over. As well as that sounds exciting, or you seem happy. This helps build a deep emotional connection. It helps them understand themselves better, and they feel better because they truly hurt. This was a bit awkward at first. I won't lie, but as long as I did it naturally and casually, it worked like a charm now. This last one, this was probably the most mind-blowing thing I've ever done to myself. It was the simplest way to get better at listening, but it was also the hardest. You've probably heard this quote, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Why am I showing you this? Because it is spitting facts, pure, unadulterated truth. Listening to someone isn't the same as genuinely wanting to understand them. I realized the immense value in truly wanting to listen, in actually desiring to understand people. After diligently practicing active listening, it became easier. I got better because when I took the time to truly understand someone, I realized just how incredibly interesting people can be if you just give them the space. If we have a number of such experiences, however, they will shape an attitude which will allow us to be truly genuine in our interests in the speaker. This, my friends, put me squarely on the path of real charisma, the kind that attracts opportunities, wealth, and genuine connection. So, if you're vibing with this stuff like I am, then you should definitely check out some of my older videos, and maybe, just maybe, stick around for the ones to come. If I don't accidentally get beamed up by aliens or something, I should be uploading sometime next week. Stay boring. Stay patient. Peace.